Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Jack Miller arrives at the 2026 season with clear aims and quiet confidence. After a restorative winter break and a year helping Yamaha get back on track, Miller is ready to push the new V4 project with Pramac, and he's measured about what success looks like. At Aprilia's RSGP 26 launch, Jorge Martín delivered a measured, mature message. Cautious optimism about a fast new bike, sharp self-critique about last year, and a clear plan to rebuild toward wins. We break to explain why Martín thinks Noale is the right place to chase a return to the front. As the paddock braces for sweeping 2027 regulation changes, Jorge Martín's manager Albert Valera says 2026 will be a decisive year for contracts and strategy. Valera, who also looks after Pedro Acosta, is already active behind the scenes, preparing riders for a fluid market where the right partnership may matter as much as raw speed. We break to explain why this year could reshape the MotoGP landscape. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Miller opens with a frank, upbeat read on his own preparation. He's enjoyed a solid winter, reconnected with the team, and is eager to turn months of off-season work into meaningful test laps and sepping. For a rider who signed late last year and spent time helping the factory understand the M1, the chance to begin again with continuity and clearer objectives is energizing. His tone is practical. Excitement paired with the knowledge that the real data will come only when the new bike hits track conditions and the engineers start their iterative development. How do I feel about this new season? Honestly, I feel good. Miller's early season goal is deliberately realistic and strategic. Before chasing championship-level outcomes, he wants to be the best of the Yamahas. With Fabio Quartararo, Alex Rins and a newly arrived Toprak in the wider Yamaha family, intra-manufacturer benchmarks matter. Being the strongest Yamaha gives him both validation and leverage. It's a clear, reachable measure of progress while the V4's development continues. For Miller, that objective provides focus and meaningful competition every weekend. The realistic goal, or the easiest one to achieve, is to try to be the best of the Yamahas. One of the season's headline stories is Miller's new partnership with Toprak Razgatlioglu. Miller's praise is unvarnished. He's watched Toprak's superbike career closely, respects his racercraft, and values the personality as much as the pace. For a team that needs harmony while developing a new engine concept, getting along off the bike matters almost as much as matching lines on it. Miller's early 2 days with Toprak gave him confidence that the pairing will be constructive, both for on-track battles and in sharing feedback to sharpen the V4. He's a fantastic guy, a truly exceptional person, and an even better rider. Miller finishes by sizing up the opposition with the scout's eye. Márquez, returning from injury, remains a top benchmark and will be competitive immediately. But the paddock isn't standing still. Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia are a clear threat, Honda is improving, and the rule changes looming toward 2027 add an extra strategic wrinkle. Miller doesn't indulge in nostalgia about the old story. He expects evolution. His takeaway: respect the field, target achievable internal goals, and use sepping to turn promise into pace. Mark will be competitive, we know that. Will it be the same old story? I don't think so. I think Bezzecchi is extremely strong. Jack Miller's message is steady and specific. He's ready, he has a short-term yardstick, be the best Yamaha, he's excited by a new teammate, and he expects a charged grid. As Sepping's first test approaches, Miller's combination of realism and hunger will be one to watch, not as a headline grabber, but as the voice of a rider determined to turn development work into race results. Martín began by praising the RSGP 26's hardware, while staying realistic about development work to come. He pointed out that the machine already shows clear progress, new solutions that need validating on track, and that the team's job now is methodical testing and measured rollout. The tone was encouraging. The bike looks competitive, but confirmation only comes when parts are proven repeatedly under race conditions. That blend of excitement and caution is exactly what teams need when introducing significant updates. The bike is amazing, and there are many new things we need to see if they work. Martín didn't hide from his own errors in 2025. He framed last year as a school of experience, acknowledging mistakes he mustn't repeat, but refusing to dwell on them. The emphasis was on turning the page, use lessons learned to reset the mindset, sharpen preparation, and control the variables he can influence. That maturity, admitting faults publicly while committing to forward motion, is a hallmark of riders who convert potential into championships. There are things I've done, mistakes I mustn't repeat, but it's also very important to turn the page and look ahead. Martín set a clear, realistic roadmap for 2026. No grand promises, but an aim to rebuild momentum and be competitive into the title fight. He stressed gradual progress, step-by-step improvements that lead to consistent results, and emphasized giving everything to fight for wins. That approach balances ambition with discipline. Fight for the podiums and the title will show whether the season's trajectory is genuine. My objective is to shine again and fight for this title. Asked to size up the grid, Martín was frank. Márquez and Ducati set a very high bar. But rather than back down, he expressed belief in Aprilia's project. If any factory can close the gap, Noale has the ingredients. That's both a vote of confidence in his new team and a recognition of the scale of the task. Crucially, Martín noted that consistency breeds comfort. The more seat time he gets and the more consistent the bike behaves, the quicker he can reignite the form that makes him a race winner. Matching Mark in that factory is very difficult, but I think if it can be done anywhere, it's here. Jorge Martín's presentation was a mix of realism and ambition, tech optimism about the ZNGP 26, personal accountability for past mistakes, and a carefully staged goal to fight for wins again. If Aprilia's new package proves repeatable and Martín converts consistency into pace, Noale could become the place where the current hierarchy is seriously challenged. For now, Martín's line is clear: learn, build, and let the results do the talking. Valera set the scene plainly. After a relatively quiet 2025, the calendar ahead is brimming with negotiation work. With many contracts expiring and rule changes looming, agents are no longer passive intermediaries but strategic architects. Valera described how the rhythm of contract discussions will accelerate, seated in private conversations, then blooming through tests and early races, and how managers must be proactive. That means mapping opportunities, gauging manufacturer appetite, and timing approaches so riders are positioned for the best possible ride when the market crystallizes. To be honest, I'm very excited about what's coming and the tasks ahead. A central theme in Valera's advice is identity. Rather than short-term salary chases or headline swaps, he urges riders to prioritize the manufacturers and teams they genuinely identify with, the colors they'd be proud to represent. That counsel is practical. Aligning with a brand you believe in often yields better long-term performance, stability, and satisfaction. Valera also flagged the human side, team personnel and position within the garage, as critical inputs to any decision. For him, contract choice is part sporting, part cultural, and part career architecture. I advise my riders to think primarily about the brand they identify with, the one they would be proud to represent. Valera explained that the marketplace won't wait for a canonical transfer window. Deals begin as whispers at tests, and then harden into offers. Managers often take the first step, opening channels with manufacturers to express interest and test the water. Sometimes teams reciprocate, approaching riders whose profiles fit their future plans. Valera's role, therefore, is dual: scout opportunities and act as a trusted translator between team needs and a rider's aspirations. That early mover advantage can be decisive when manufacturers are weighing which rider best suits a new technical direction. Sometimes we, as management, take the first step and contact a manufacturer to express our interest in negotiating. Being first doesn't guarantee success, but it does shape the conversation and set terms early in a fast-moving market. Finally, Valera mapped the calendar mechanics. Concrete negotiations traditionally gather pace around the European rounds, but this year he expects activity to break cover earlier. Tests become marketplaces where fabric meets thread, riders show pace, teams see fit, and conversations turn commercial. The window from the first tests through the initial races will be frenetic, with decisions forming quickly as manufacturers prepare for the 2027 regulatory reset. For riders and managers alike, that means having clarity on priorities and the ability to act fast when offers align with long-term strategy. Normally, you have to wait until the start of the European races for concrete negotiations, but I expect there will be a lot of activity in the coming weeks. Albert Valera's message is pragmatic and pointed. 2026 is preparation time for 2027's big shifts. His counsel to riders: prioritize identity, know the people you'll work with, and be open to early conversations, reframes contract talks as strategic career moves. With the paddock's calendar already humming, Valera is one of the professionals working quietly to ensure his clients don't just get seats, but the right seats for the long game. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!